Hi guys, this is what I'd like to do, and I'm not copying other people, but he's got a museum of his own, and this is what I'd like to do with my collecting all the old toys from memorabilia from all the 1970s, 80s, and 60s and 50s, and do what he does, depending how much I can actually get for my museum. I've always wanted to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
This guy's in America.
Well, here we are, the new garage.
The new garage.
Yeah.
This is it. From when you came here the last time, I think we were just doing the floors, weren't we?
Yeah, and you had some of the buildings more or less done. That's spectacular, isn't it? So is this, when you walk in now and you look at this,
This is how I pictured it.
this is what you saw in your head?
More or less.
Yeah, you are demented.
More or less. Yeah, no, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what?
that's great. And that's the bumper cars you got down
Get
the
the
States.
bumper cars down the States.
And so how many cars you got in here now?
Total that I have now is over 70. We
Over
got over
70?
70 cars in total now.
Yeah.
Between the three buildings.
So, well, you got room for more than 70 in this.
Yeah, no, I still got room for a few more cars. Because I was thinking about it, I can still move those cars over so that it's still the width of the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I can move them over. I can get a third row coming down the middle.
Yeah. Or you could you could angle park them.
I did that, and it
Didn't look
wasn't
right?
looking right now.
Yeah.
I had them all
No,
coming
because
one
this
way.
building is long.
Right.
You're going to interrupt the view.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, that is spectacular. And how many signs do you think you've got hanging? And poor Frank had to hang all these.
Frank, every piece, every one. And he did them while I was in Florida.
Is that right?
I came back, and it was like, wow, look
I'll
at this
bet.
place.
Yeah, so you
Like,
did
I
get-
could see it on the camera,
Yeah, that did.
but it's just not the same
Yeah.
as when you walk in, and still every day I look at something new
Mhm.
when I drive in here. I drive in this building every day, probably 6 to 8 times.
Yeah.
Just to absorb everything,
Yeah, well, I mean,
to
it's,
absorb it all.
how many people get to build their sort of fantasy town?
Yeah.
You know,
Not many.
gas
There's
stations
a
and-
few of them out there.
Oh, there is, and I've
Believe it or
been
not.
to a few.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun. But I know that you use your barber shop, right?
I do, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
due, actually, I'm due. I gotta just go around the edges here a little
Uh-huh.
bit.
So the barber
That's
comes
the-
to you and
He does, yeah. We just call him up and we'll
works
set
at
up
your
a
barber
date.
shop. I'll have to
He'll
get
come
some-
up and do his thing in the barber shop. I tell the guys, anybody that's working that day, I say, come on in, I'll have your hair cut for you. I pay for it also.
Yeah. And I noticed you've got a building full of motorcycles,
Yeah.
but now you've got a second floor full of motorcycles.
Yeah.
So are
Yeah,
these
so-
from the other building? Or?
They were, at one time, they were in that building. And then
Wow.
I said, you know what? It's so packed in
Well,
here.
it was getting packed.
It was really packed. So now I brought, I think there's like 35 or 37 of them up there.
So what do you have, like 50, 60 bikes in all? Something like that, eh?
Yeah, 60 to 70 of those too.
Yeah. And they're all in nice nick.
Yeah, most of them are. I got a couple that are in the back. Can always take you back in that building too. Yeah, there's a few that I just bought. They were cheap. I couldn't go wrong.
Yeah.
They're good. They're good bikes to use as trades.
Mhm.
That's how I see them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, let's do a little cruise down.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So you got a bunch of new shelving and furniture in here. You've been to the auctions again?
No, this was the stuff I ended up, he invited me over. He says, you know all the shelving that's in the building, do you want it? Because they were selling his whole toy collection. I bought a bunch of his toy stuff and stuff. But I ended up, he says, come on in. He says, I said, so what do you want for it? He says, Tim, give me $500. You can take whatever you want in here. I said, okay, no problem.
I see that's going to be a marina, that store?
Yeah, that's
Outboard motors
I got a
and
little
boats.
outboard motor. As you can see, there's up top is my two crashed when I hit the rocks with my boat. The two lowers and out.
Yeah. And an amp car in front for good measure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm trying to get the license plate boat car right now for that one. It's either car boat or boat car, one of the two.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And a Firestone dealership.
Yep.
I see you've made really great use of
Yeah.
those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at there, and they fit perfect right in that spot.
Yeah, that's amazing. What a great, because
Really
I mean,
was.
they were given
Really
to
was.
me to put on display,
Right.
because I mean that was a man's lifetime achievements at General
absolutely.
Motors. You know, and I thought, well, I can't do them justice, but my God, you've certainly done them justice.
Yeah,
and,
they're out there.
and a lot more
you know,
people are going to see them there than would have seen them in our place.
And then this is Frank's imagination, you know, the railroad track, and this is where you lose your hubcap, is on the railroad track.
You know what? We haven't lost a hubcap since yesterday when they took an Eldorado for a test drive and came back with only 3 hubcaps on it.
Yeah, there you go.
And after a fruitless search,
I don't know if I got one.
yeah, we've got to find a new Eldorado hubcap. So,
Gotta see if you got one in there.
yeah.
If you know what it looks like, you let me know.
Yeah, no, I don't see any. Those are all a bit older.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a Puma. I can
got a
remember
Puma, yeah, that was
when the Pumas first came out. There was a little dealership down in Toronto, and I had an agent. She was also a bank manager, so I never got to forget. And she was absolutely insistent that I buy one of these because it would fit my image. Because I was driving around Toronto in a great big army truck.
Right.
And she said, you know, I'm a professional artist. You said, I'm a wildlife artist. The army
Yeah.
truck fits better than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I love your Volkswagens, and we've discussed these
Yeah.
before. I mean, I just love that little thing. But my favorite car, from an artistic standpoint, in your entire collection, is that Volkswagen right there.
This one.
Yeah. If you guys can get some footage of this, and I
That's
would
my
love
hippie
you.
wagon.
Yeah.
See, that's the happy hippie.
Yeah. This is. Well, you tell them.
This is, when I was a kid, this is how we lived our life kind of thing. And those were all the cartoons on the top. I think there's like 80 different cartoon characters up there. And those were the cartoons that we watched when we were kids. You know, and then you got the psychedelic, you know, the mushroom trip, all kinds of cool things.
Yeah. So basically, it's your life
Yeah.
on a car.
Right.
Yeah.
If life wasn't real, it would be the craziest psychedelic trip ever.
Yeah. I've always just thought that was just such a fabulous
too.
thing. And I mean, you worked on the design with the artist.
Yes, I
who
did.
made all of this.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you had to be very much involved with this.
I was.
because-
This one I was.
Yeah.
I told him exactly what I wanted. He was the one that showed me all the different pictures, and he says, but I'm not going to show you where I'm placing everything, because that's going to be a surprise. Don't worry, it's going to look awesome.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was well worth the money that I paid for him to design it for me.
Well, I mean, this is a magnificent piece. I mean, really, that
Absolutely.
literally is an art piece. There's no doubt about it. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, I've seen a lot of, you know,
Don't forget,
artists where
guys,
they
this
take the car
guy's
and they
in America,
splash
he's
paint
not
on it
here.
and this, that, and the other.
And
I mean,
he's
it's just-
following his dream. He dreamt one day he was going to have a museum in Derry.
When they clear
And
coated it,
lo and behold, there it
Yeah, it
is.
doesn't look bad. But
Many
this
years
is just
later.
special, I think.
I'm almost debating whether I want to build another Volkswagen
Wow.
thing.
That's amazing.
Well, you've got this
guys.
one, then you've got the.
I want to build another one. I have another GTR. I'm thinking of putting some other kind of body on top of it.
Would you pick me up on this?
Oh, yeah.
I thought, yeah, and you said it was a GTR. And I didn't even think about it. I was thinking like Volkswagen GTI, right? And then when you punched it, I suddenly realized this ain't no GTI.
No, there's a GTR.
GTR, there's a difference in the. you know?
Absolutely. It really is.
Yeah, that was.
It's a fun,
You know what?
it's a fun car.
This Starfire, this is going to date me. I was at the dealerships used to have these premieres in September of all the new cars,
Yep.
and it was a big deal. And Wilson Niblett in Richmond Hill, my father, we used to go to these things. My father took me, and they had like 5